figured out why, and fixing it's going to be a little annoying, but yeah, that's the life.
Nice, cool. Well, while we're on the show, you can noodle on that in the background.
You know why I could never work in the gaming industry? Because my entire life would basically just be fixing tech issues.
I will go ahead and I will bring up the handy dandy desktop, and we'll go through all the balance stuff for Open Beta 14. And we're switching things up a little bit today. We're going to do gods first instead of items, and we'll kick things off with on her. But I guess before we go item by item, give me just the general thought process on the overarching direction of the update.
Yeah, so this patch is going to be mostly focused on god level balance with like one item adjustment because we've seen the item get really strong. It's going to be lighter in that sense. It's not going to have as many game sweeping changes as it was before, but we want to make sure that the ones we targeted here were impactful.
Yeah.
So one major thing was we've seen that the ranked ban order, the types of characters being banned has been pretty stagnant. We've done nerfs to those characters, but they still are at the top of the ban order. Yeah. So we're being a bit more aggressive in our nerfs to those characters to try and shake up the meta there a little bit. But we are working in the background for OB15. Yeah. And OB15 is a lot of stuff.
We'll talk about that a little bit later. Yeah.
So just know this.
I work in IT and ensure not to apply to gaming companies. Yeah.
It's been a bit stagnant.
Jesus, man.
So that's where a lot of the focus of these changes are. And then we also wanted to look
like
at
if I got offered a 6-figure deal to go just
no
like
Loki yet. Loki is the one that always comes
do
up when we
bug
talk about this.
QA for high res. I promise you the answer is no. Not because I wouldn't like to do that. I would just rather do what I'm doing now because holy shit, I would get mad every day.
We are in alphabetical order here, so on her up first.
I guess I would like the opportunity and knowledge to fix it so other people like I
your
could.
Stacks are no longer reset if your abilities deal damage to a different god.
Yeah, so this one stacks based off your basic attacks hitting the same god. It felt weird that your abilities hitting another god caused it to reset. So if you were fighting someone and then you leapt in to be aggressive and you clipped like the enemy support and knocked them away instead, you actually just lose all your stacks. And that just didn't feel great. So now
this is a quality of life buff, not a real buff, by the way.
Or your basic attack has to hit someone different. Your abilities are.
It's just a quality of life
your
buff.
Ult actually doesn't last long.
If you were autoing an Apollo and a Sobek was getting in the way and you
Awesome. All right,
impaled him away to keep autoing the Apollo, that would reset your enfeeble stacks.
We're going to be increasing the bonus strength that you get from the one.
Bonus strength increased by 6.
Chug, we're increasing the buff duration.
Increasing buff duration to 6 seconds at all ranks.
I think that the Chug one, the increased bonus strength, is also aspect only. I'll have to double check. Cool. But essentially, this is a focus on the aspect. We want to make the
aspect early game really strong now.
And then we thought that we needed some scaling range.
A 2-second.
That's the main thing.
The two strength.
But it just made it so that you just didn't get to play with it as long. It didn't feel as impactful.
The 2 strength.
So
now it lasts the extra 2 full seconds though. The 2 seconds is huge. Yeah.
Really, really good.
2 more seconds of your
next.
Passive.
Gonna be seeing an aspect buff. General first.
Oh Jesus.
A bug fix for Shifter of Seasons. For both, we fixed a tooltip issue where the fall stance stated that it reduced percent protections. It should and has been actually reducing protections by a flat amount.
Yeah, the tooltip was just
increased summer base damage for 8 to 36.
It's always worked this way, so it should be good
increase,
to go there. The cooler part is the
aspect.
Yes, so Shifter of Seasons
by 5 at all levels.
Damage,
that's pretty big.
Increasing the fall protection reductions, increasing the base
that flat fall protection reduction by 5. Literally, it literally doubles it early game.
Effects.
Level 1, that's huge. That is a
really
double.
There's a few meme cases where it's really good.
Late game's not really going to matter. 25 to 30 late game not really going to matter. Doubling the flat protection shred at level 1, that's huge.
Impactful generally for the aspect, which is just an interesting space to play
increase
in.
Slow 12 to 20.
Because that's the main.
And increase the slow to 2 seconds.
You're trying to dash through resets. You can now dash through and apply a stronger version of the protection reduction or a stronger version of the damage.
Cool.
That's pretty strong.
Next, we have got Mercury. Up next, Mercury released. He had some issues, got a lot of feedback that he was feeling maybe
increased
just a little bit under the radar, a little bit underwhelming. So we're going to be seeing a couple buffs here. Fastest
max.
got
That's
alive
good.
The passive.
Sonic
we're going to
Boom
be
decreased
increasing
cooldown.
the bonus damage per stack.
Good buffs.
And then Sonic Boom going to be decreasing the cooldown, and it goes down as you rank up the ability.
He's not bad. I don't think he's as bad as a lot of the other people said where they said he's just a dog shit character. I don't think that's true, but I think he was a tad underwhelming. But if you could look at it, you remember when Ganesh came out and everyone was so mad because he was so strong, and then Mercury came out and everyone's mad he's so weak.
Generally, anywhere from like
it's not
47
possible to
53
just
is
consistently
probably
release.
like fair, depending on how difficult the character is. So he was definitely struggling. After we fixed all those
Balanced
things,
gods.
he's doing a lot better now. He's closer to like 48%.
Nice. That's a good jump.
So that's a big jump there. But
it's like, oh, Ganesh aspect is too strong. Oh, Mercury's too weak. Oh, Poseidon's too strong. Oh, Scylla's too weak. Aspect's too weak, right?
That distance and that much CC,
they're literally
really
guessing
strong.
whether the numbers are going to make sense or not before thousands of people tested at a variety of skill levels. Like, it's just
contribute more damage.
All right.
This is why I don't get mad when something releases broken. I'll say things like, yo, they need to fix this. This is annoying, but like...
So Mjolnir's attunement is
70 seconds, yeah.
Increased strength scaling. Berserker's Barrage is going to be seeing
non-aspect buff of
strength
Thor.
Scaling. And then aspect of
scaling on the 1,
does not
scaling on the 3
increases. So really just base Thor getting a buff.
Yeah, base Thor is interesting because he's swinged a little bit in how strong he was. And in the last few patches, he's
10% more on the 1.
Yeah,
but I mean, you end up usually being around like 300 strength. So that's really only 30 more damage.
And his aspect version is definitely the way that you're going to play him. Some of that is because
10% more scaling on the 1 ends up being a total of 90 damage late game if you get to 300 or 400 strength.
We think that he has some room to go up just in general anyway. So yeah,
an additional 90 damage, like it's fair if you're going. You have to be full damage.
Right
so
along. Scylla
because it'd be 30 and then double on the way back.
Non-aspect nerf and an aspect buff. So Crush for non-aspect, going to be seeing
decrease
a
scaling by
decrease
5, decrease
scaling and a
the protection debuff by 5 is huge.
Debuff. But Aspect of the Devourer is getting some new fun.
1
here.
regen per max ability, so it's 4.
You
now gain 5 mana regen when this ability reaches max
rank. And then
rank.
I'm a Monster. You now gain 5 mana regen.
So you just got a shit ton of mana regen.
Max rank. And
increases the scaling of her
ult
so 22 up to 30% of your maximum mana.
Do you think that her Crush was just doing a little too
much?
That's interesting. This is a really light nerf in the grand scheme of things. The main thing here is actually to focus on the
5% prot shred is actually pretty big. That's a 30%
changes the way that you
nerf.
build up towards your
ultimate.
Sure, yeah. And we just think it's taken too long to get there. So we're increasing the mana regen. We're giving you some more mana regen on max rank. And we're also just increasing the scaling so that when you actually do get to the ultimate build up, it's going to be way more impactful. And that mana regen is just basically going to act as a way of, even if you're not necessarily landing hits or you're not able to land as many hits, you will be making progress.
You're still
getting
something.
Yeah, to getting your ultimate. So should help this aspect out a ton.
Awesome. All right, up next for Gods, Aladdin Pawn. This is your baby.
Yes.
Lots of changes to Aladdin. He's going to be seeing a slew of nerfs to Kufik Invocation and Into the Lamp. There's a lot here. I'll let chat kind of absorb it.
Yes.
I'm not going to read everything.
Decrease the returning damage.
So this is the beginning of the list I was talking about at the top
scaling
of the show.
Up to 20 base.
There have been a few characters that
decrease
have been on the top
small
bands,
returning
and we've
damage.
Seen them respond to nerfs.
Scaling.
They stay at
decrease
the top
large
level.
returning damage.
And so this is the.
So it's okay. So they nerfed the 1.
If we need to buff them later, we can.
They nerfed the 1, small returning damage and big returning damage. That's all they did. So the one that's coming back is nerfed. And his 1 late game was hitting for too much, so they reduced the scaling in the base a little bit on just his 1.
I know all your legalese that you wrote in the ability description.
So for those that don't know, if you go into the lamp with
pretty
Aladdin,
big late game nerf. Well, you got to think too. It's not like
a
lot of times like Aladdin. His 1 was doing way too much damage. A lot of time Aladdin late game can still dash on you, auto. Jump on you, knock up, auto, dash through you, and sometimes you just die from that, right? This is just making it so his 1 on the return damage isn't just one-shotting you. So I actually don't think that's too bad.
Like going in to help can sometimes just be a big death trap. And it really shouldn't be. We kind of want
the 1 poke is just too much.
We want there to be that push and pull of people feeling like they can join. But
you're an assassin, right?
This being reduced just
you're an assassin. You should be able to blow people up, but not with that much poke.
Can help out.
That was probably the most boring part of Aladdin's kit.
But it also means that just
do you think they'll change CC buffering?
I
don't know. I hope so.
Let's say like Aladdin ult someone, and then like 3 people can come help that person that Aladdin got.
I hope so.
Aladdin had a pretty good chance of potentially killing all of them because of the damage taken penalty and the damage dealt. They couldn't quite really burst down Aladdin. Now it's gonna be a lot harder in that situation.
Sweet. All right. Up next, Artemis. Actually performing quite well, so she's going to be seeing a nerf. Just to suppress the insolent, just a decrease in the strength scaling.
Yeah, she was actually like she had like an outlier position on the hunter list, so we just wanted to make sure we took a little bit of the edge off. This is probably in relationship to the strength scaling buffs that we did. It affects different characters differently, and we just think that we'll see if this needs to hold, but she spiked in a way that we were not anticipating. So this is kind of a preventative measure to make sure that like she's staying in line with everyone else.
All right. Up next, we have Awelish, another jungler that has been at the top of the ban list for a really long time. Going to be seeing a few nerfs here to initiative, decreasing the strength and basic attack power bonus that you get from the passive. Feather Step, decreasing the damage multiplier. And then Gravity Surge, decreasing the stun duration on that.
Yeah, so the stun duration, it matters a little bit. DR will largely have kicked in and made it reduced, but this just means this is essentially the quickest we can make the stun so that you have most time to react. Outside of this, initiative gives a lot of hidden strength and really allows her to burst targets down before they have a chance to react. Combine that with Feather Step, especially like you could even go for the 1.5 multiplier and it's still going to chunk really, really hard. We want to give you more reward for getting to the max range of it. So now if you only get like a little bit, like if you actually only use the second stage of it, it's not going to contribute nearly as much. If you want the full payoff, you really have to actually commit the attacks to get to the final attack chain. I think this is going to just generally take the edge off of Wheelix and hopefully remove her from like the super top ban priority.
All right. Ganesh Aspect nerf up next. A lot of feedback on this one that I've been seeing around the community and on social media. So, Aspect of the Triumphant, we're going to be increasing the cooldown and removing the slow debuff.
Yeah, so the ultimate contributes a lot of damage. This being on a longer cooldown means that especially with things like Spear of Desolation, you're not going to be able to get
just on the aspect, keep in mind. Just on the aspect, his ult cooldown is increased and remove the slow debuff.
Character. We're just keeping the damage cage being
pretty fair.
Mean that you won't contribute that type of CC to a fight with this aspect.
Cool. All right, up next, Guan Yu seeing an aspect nerf to aspect of the general battle fervor, the passive. We're going to be decreasing the intelligence per stack, decreasing the intelligence at max stacks, and then decreasing the intelligence bonus at max stacks as well.
Yeah, and I put a helpful little like, here's what it means at level 1, here's what it means at level 20. Aspect of the general is just generally the better way to play Guan Yu right now. This aspect's been overperforming, and it's a lot of that free intelligence means that you're not really making the trade-off between, do I want to build more intelligence, be more squishy to bring more healing and utility to my team, or do I want to be that frontliner tank? And so now you're not you don't have as much of that just free intelligence to lean on. So that means your build decisions are going to matter more.
All right, Loki up next, another jungler. Flurry Strike going to be seeing a decrease in the final damage and seeing a decrease in the final damage on Assassinate as well.
Yep, this is similar to Artemis, where after the strength changes and we've seen some things level out, he just spiked really, really hard in his win rate. And again, the strength adjustments were largely healthy for a lot of characters, but for some characters who had a really high amount of scaling in their kits and just the way that they utilize it, it made them spike up higher than intended. So this is just taking the edge off of it. Again, compared to some of the other nerfs we're doing for the other top band characters, this will matter, but it's not going to kill the character. But we think that we need to take the edge off of Loki.
Yeah. All right, and then Pele is up next. You mentioned a little bit earlier on
Pele
in the show that
and Loki nerfs are welcome.
Receiving a nerf to
Thor buff
Everlasting
makes
Flame
sense.
passive,
They just got the strength buffs, makes sense. Awilix, Loki, and Pele nerfs make sense too.
And outer strength scaling,
especially when it's just scaling, right? We're not nerfing the base damage. We're just nerfing the scaling in response to the increased strength really items last game.
Character. She wasn't in the top ban list, so she probably should have been hit harder than this. But we were largely focused on like keeping this super intense nerfs for. Like this matters, but like it's not the same level of some of the other characters we saw. She was definitely really doing well with the strength adjustment changes, both her aspect and her non-aspect version. And this should just take again the edge off of things. Make her so when she triggers Everlasting Flame, it's not as spiky.
Like they buffed Mercury, buffed Thor, and then nerfed like Loki, Pele, and
which is a now pseudo movement ability with CC. Shouldn't contribute as much damage.
All right. Up next, Princess Bari. Going to be seeing a nerf here to Reverend Steps, the 3, decreasing the strength scaling, and then Spirit's Cadence, decreasing the pulse strength scaling.
They might have nerfed
another
Pele 3 7 or 8 straight times right now.
Strength scaling off through basically the whole kit.
They might have nerfed Pele 3 9 consecutive times since launch. This might be the most nerfed ability in the game. It's reduced the base damage multiple times, it's reduced the scaling multiple times, it's reduced the cooldown multiple times, it's reduced the amount of whatever it gives you multiple times. They've nerfed the 3 so many times on Bari.
All right, up next, and I think this might be our last
one.
Oh,
sorry,
sorry.
And she was the one that's been at the top for the longest and has received the most nerfs.
Kali's been top banned for a long time.
Our hope is that this addresses that for a while at least. So yeah, Mark for Death, her passive gives her a ton of healing. It also gives her a lot of like hidden benefits as well. The penetration on your marked target, and the gold bounty for actually successfully killing the target is really impactful in helping her spike. We're reducing all those. Nimble Strike is losing a lot of the base heal, so you're not just going to be able to heal up as much for just landing on a target that's full health. You actually have to try and find targets that are lower health. And Destruction, this actually got a slight buff when we ported her to Smite 2 because we increased the tick rate, and increasing the tick rate meant that she actually got more ticks per rank properly, where she didn't before. So now the contribution here matters a lot, and also that it builds up Rupture, which you can then consume now. It just doesn't need to contribute nearly as much scaling when you're just in the middle of a team fight, whirling on people and hitting people as frequently as you are.
Cool. All right, so that is it for our God changes. We do have one item change, as you mentioned earlier. Serrated Edge has been the hotness for a lot of people over the past couple of weeks that I've been seeing.
It's a fair nerf.
So going to be seeing a nerf.
Serrated is basically a staple on almost every character right now.
The lifesteal.
Yeah, this is
100 more gold, 5 less lifesteal, but keep the strength on it. That's fair.
It a lot more frequently. It's one of those items that has a lot of really base lifesteal and a lot of base strength that if you rush it early, especially, it can be really, really impactful. Upping the cost make it harder to rush early, and you're decreasing the lifesteal of it being that impactful.
Yeah. All right, and that is it for the list for
pretty good balance,
Open Beta 14 balance. As we mentioned earlier, a little bit lighter this side because, Pon, I know you've been working on a lot of stuff for the next update after this, correct?
Yes. I can spoil a little bit of it. But yeah, the big focus that I've been working on is for OB15. And it's one aspect of the game that we wanted to tackle for a while, which is just generally like healing and sustain and lifesteal.
Okay, so you guys don't get to find out about
to how lifesteal works,
healing stuff today.
God damage.
Sorry, mates.
And we've had to do a lot of things with anti-heal to make anti-heal impactful. And it creates a weird dynamic of like, it's the kind of arms race that we tried to avoid in the past where like, it's a requirement to build certain things because the game is built in a certain way and it just limits item diversity. So we're doing a really, really big pass on that aspect of the game. I don't know how much I want to say here, but
you can caveat subject to change, right?
Yeah, subject to change. I talked to the ambassadors about this. They're generally on board. There's a little bit of trepidation about like the intensity of how like some specifics of it have shifted.
Something big,
but I think overall, it's going to be really good for the game.
They're taking a big look at healing and how healing works in the game, right?
Yes.
They've increased the health pool, so like percent of health gain is very large. So they had to take a look at shields a couple patches ago, but healing just feels too strong.
Yes, I was going to say
anti-heal shouldn't be something that you need every single game on every single character. And right now, healing is so strong, like you genuinely need it. It doesn't feel like a counter. It feels like you must have it, and that's not fun. It's not fun to add into your build like, oh, I have to get divine every game because healing is so strong in every game, even if people aren't really opting into healing, because that's how strong lifesteal, healing, and everything is in the game. So they're going to take a look at healing in a big variety of ways to make it more fun. So that way, when you buy anti-heal, it's truly meant just to be a counter to some healing they have, rather than an absolute must build every game all the time. So
opportunities for players in ranked. And then, some aspects that we looked at and we're like, these are underperforming, and we have really clear, straightforward ideas of how we want to address them.
So,
again, that's why you don't see like a Loki aspect change, because we understand Loki's aspect is definitely one of those ones that we want to look at.
There's some that I know you have all been, workshopping and thinking about for a long time, but we just want to make sure we take our time with it. And
take our time with it. And sometimes it's even just like even if we have an idea, finding the right time to do it, given all the other parties that we have. So. That's kind of why
it's because even no matter how good you make,
generally help.
No matter how good you make anti-heal, this is the issue: is the out of combat healing, like a disengagement plus healing off minions, you're immediately back to full, right?
And Open Beta 14 on next Tuesday.
Anti-heal in the moment can do more than enough. That 75%, if applied to somebody, is going to do more than enough.
So
the math adds up. But it's when can you get it applied to the right sources? Can you apply 75% to the right sources at the right times when heals are going off, and that's where it's tough. That's why you can't just buff anti-heal and have it be the cure-all for too much healing.
Yeah.
You have to actually adjust healing in general.
I see them asking for a tease.
Item tease.
Is there one that I want to tease?
There are so many. You got to choose from the 10.
Well, the one that I'm working on was the one that's the most interesting is the one that was crashing.
Oh no.
And it has the fix for it is definitely one of those things where it's like I need to actually look to see if we can do it. I guess that one could be good because if you don't see it, you understand why.
Yeah.
So the one teaser I'll give is Typhon's Fang is going away. that won't exist anymore. The reason, and this will set up some of the other discussion, is we want to look at things that are increase healing by a lot, and because we're looking at how anti-heal interact with healing increases, that effect just doesn't really work as well anymore. So we're replacing that with Typhon's Heart. And Typhon's Heart is interesting. So the way it works is you build up stacks by doing things, and at a certain stack count, you'll actually spawn a monster of Typhon. And this monster Typhon has a health amount, and it does damage based off the lifesteal you've built, your intelligence, and some of your like base stats. That's cool. You spawn
you spawn a
little cool monster pet. Now, the thing about that is if you get to max stacks again, and your lifesteal heals it. So like as you're lifestealing, you're healing it as well. It's kind of like the goal is to make it so that there's things that scale with lifesteal and give you cool benefits for lifesteal that aren't just lifesteal more and more and more and more, right? That's the kind of general idea of the item. If you get to max stacks again, rather than spawning a second monster, we full heal that previous monster and then make it stronger and bigger. So you can just try and keep your monster alive, keep trying to stack.
It's a fun little mini game, right?
To build it up and make it stronger, and use that to help you push, use that to help you fight things. Should be interesting.
Yes.
That's
subject to change, but it's definitely spicy, and there's a lot more spicy stuff that Fawn has been working on.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of other items. I think that one's the one that's most involved. I think the
What's up,
are
Evie?
pretty interesting what they do. We have a lot of other things going into it to also relate to that patch. So we'll talk about that more later. I think that'll be at some point next week's show.
Maybe. Yeah, I forget what, because we have the update next Tuesday. So maybe the week after next, maybe that Monday or Wednesday. I forget. Because we shifted the schedule too, so I have my days mixed up. But give Pawn a little bit more time to cook chat, and we'll be back in a week or so to talk about more stuff.
I would talk about it more now, but there's definitely still stuff in flux. We're still working on making sure that we can get all this into the patch and all that stuff. So it'd be better to wait till then so you guys can have the full details. But I really want to get Typhon's Heart working, so that's what I'm working on right now, and I think that one's going to be really fun.
All right. Let's see here. I guess we could do just another slight little spoiler. You don't have to say explicitly what, but I see a couple people asking, are there